Hi, I'm Eric with Old Man Mountain. Today we're going to install a Manzanita Cradle. We'll start with an unboxing. In the package, there's the cradle body. There are 2 cradle arms. And there's a small bag of hardware with some bolts and some plates. There will also be the 9-liter top load or the 11-liter side load bag. Next, we're going to gather our tools. You need a 4mm Allen wrench, a torque wrench with a 4mm bit set to 5 Newton meters, some anti-seize or grease. You may want some Loctite, and I'll explain why further in the video. And if your bike has carbon fiber handlebars, you'll want some carbon fiber assembly paste. We're going to prepare our cradle arms. When you take them out of the package, they have the hardware pre-installed, but we're going to need to remove this to put it on the bike. Grab a 4mm Allen key and undo the Allen bolts on each side. You can repeat this on both arms. Each bolt has a little O-ring on it that keeps the bolts from falling out, so you won't lose them. The cradle arms also have shims that come pre-installed. If you have 31/8 handlebars, you can leave the shim in place. If you have 35/0 handlebars on your bike, set the shims aside, you won't need them. Now we're going to install the cradle arms onto the cradle body. There's 4 bolts and 2 plates. We're gonna stick those guys in there, and so it's sort of ready to go. These bolts have pre-installed Loctite on them, so you do not need to add grease to these bolts. Grab an arm. There are 2 slots, and each slot is gonna line up with each arm. And grab that pre-installed little guy. Grab your 4mm Allen wrench. Find the hole to line up and start attaching the hardware. This is easily done by hand, but do be careful. You don't want to cross-thread any bolts or anything like that. And you just run them down, but don't tighten them all the way. But the cradle has some adjustment. And so for now, we want to leave them sort of loose because we're going to adjust it later. We're going to repeat the process with the other arm on the other slot. Set it in. Our cradle's assembled. Now we need a bike. Whoa, there we are. Now we've got our bike and we're ready to install our cradle on the bike. This bike has 31/8 handlebars, so we are going to leave the shims installed. If you had 35/0s, like I said earlier, you'd pop those guys out. This bike also has aluminum handlebars, which do not require friction paste. But if it had carbon handlebars, you'd want to apply a small amount of friction paste to the clamping surfaces of the cradle before you put it on. So, set those guys down. It's helpful to rotate the cradle back so you can get to the hardware and not drop it everywhere. So we're going to take one of our clamps, 4mm Allen, and we'll get the bolt started, just a little bit of each. Grab the second and get those bolts started. Once they're started, it's super easy. Drive them down. We're not tightening it just yet. Right now, we want to tighten them just enough that the cradle can hold itself here so that we can place the bag and check our alignment. Let's see. Yeah, that's good for now. Now we're going to install the included nylon straps into the cradle body. There are slots in the cradle that the straps will fit through, and it keeps the straps tight so they don't slip around. So I'm going to take the strap with the logo facing towards the front, and I'm going to feed it down through the first slot and then back up through the second. That's the first set, and there's a second set here on the back, so I'm going to go to that set. Down through the first slot, pull it kind of snug here, and then back out the second slot. And the strap is attached to the cradle now. It can be pulled through and adjusted so you can have this kind of wherever you want it. That's a good start right there. We'll do the same thing with the second strap. Again, logo kind of towards the front. Grab the tail, feed it down, and then we repeat the process on these lower slots, down through the top. Boom. We're ready for the bag. The bag has little tabs on the corners, and those interface with these ears on the corner of the cradle. So it's super easy. Grab your bag, hook it over there, hook the other side up, and it's hands-free. I didn't tighten it very much. So the weight of the cradle immediately pulled it down, and that leads us to seeing that tire clearance is something you want to be aware of. And so you can rotate it up or down to decide what's best for your bike. And then the cradle is adjustable on the arms. And it can slide, and it can rotate. So between those two adjustments, you can really dial this in so that it's in a position that you like as a cyclist, and you have clearance for your tire. This bike has a rigid fork, so we have good clearance here. This is awesome. If this bike had a suspension fork, you need to take into consideration how much that wheel is gonna move and whether it's gonna come up and hit the bag or not. If you really wanna be certain, the best way to do it is to let the air out of your fork, compress the fork all the way, and make sure your knobbies are not tearing into your bag. Once you're happy with where the bag is positioned, we're gonna take the bag back off because we need to tighten all our hardware to spec. And we're gonna grab our torque wrench. This is set at 5 Newton meters. This one's an adjustable one, so I went ahead and preset it. Just make sure that yours is set to 5 Newton meters. There are the preset ones that are super convenient as well. So you have lots of options here. There's the 4 bolts holding the cradle arms to the handlebars. We're gonna tighten those all to 5 Newton meters, and we wanna do it evenly. And there's the 4 bolts holding the cradle body to the cradle arms. Also 5 Newton meters on all of them. We're happy with the tilt of the cradle, and we're happy with the angle of the cradle. So we're not gonna make any more adjustments, we're just gonna snug them down. I'm going back and forth to make sure those gaps on both sides of the clamp are even. Nope. Click on the second one. That one's snug. I'll repeat the process on the other side here. Bam. All 4 of those are torqued to 5 Newton meters, and the gaps are even front to back. Looks great. Now we're gonna do the same thing on these 4 bolts up in here. Set. Those 4 are torqued. Those 4 are torqued. We're ready to put our bag back on and strap it down. Quick note, if after first installation you decide to change the angle of the cradle, we recommend a little bit of Loctite applied to these 4 bolts. Okay, cradle's installed, everything's torqued down, we're ready to put the bag on, strap the bag down and go for a ride. We're gonna get ready to attach them to the buckle. Before we do, we're gonna come around the bottom of the bag, and there's a little slot in both sides of the bottom of the pocket. 1 slot for each strap. So we're gonna feed them in there. So we take the strap, feed it through the pocket, grab it out the top, pull it through. Do the same thing with the other one. Feed it in there, grab it, pull it up, and now we can take the strap, install it into the buckle, snug it down, clip. Feed this second one through, buckle it down, and there it is. Manzanita Cradle's installed, ready to go for an adventure. If you have any questions on install or any parts of this, go ahead and check our website. We have a lot of really good information on there. And if you're not finding what you need, just send us an email. We'll be very glad to help out. We'll see you out there. Take 5. Okay,